And tonight, 2 years later, Black Lives Matter activists here in Toledo are reflecting on it. And they're telling our Roxanne Elias what they think has changed, if anything, in that time. Roxanne?
Jeff, local activists say Floyd's death was the harsh reality of what life is like for Black people here in America. They say there's been a movement here, but they also say huge strides still need to be made when it comes to police brutality and racism. Some say the images and the sounds are still fresh.
The scream, the look in the eye, like of George Floyd, the smugness of the police officer.
Julian Mack says the day George Floyd died is forever imprinted on his mind.
And the repeated words of "I can't breathe."
Mack is the spokesperson for the Community Solidarity Response Network of Toledo. Just days after Floyd was killed by a Minneapolis police officer, he and hundreds of others would protest in Toledo.
It was a devastating event. In fact, to see it was just painful to watch that one human being could do that to another human being. But when it's law enforcement, it's just made it even worse.
It's a bold wake-up call that we have not made the progress that we think we have made, and that not only on a systemic level does that lack of progress exist.
2 years later, and Mack believes some changes have been made, but he says it hasn't been enough.
It wasn't George Floyd dying that made public officials want to listen. It was the threat that property would be damaged that made them listen. Some of my worst fears have come true, and the fact that we've returned to that status quo.
Pastor Otis Gordon also says he's worried about the crime happening within the Black community here locally.
Well, here we are at a time when violence is out of control, and at the same time, reflecting upon what happened to George Floyd.
He says it's a difficult task for police in the community, but one that has to be done.
I think every police department have to do some soul searching, ask themselves, what can we do better? How can we better serve and protect our citizens in which we are hired to serve?
Mack says no matter how big or small, he's hoping for change and wants all people to continue to learn from this event, now 2 years old. In studio, Roxanne Elias, WTOL 11.